Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever. Yeah, check it out. Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 of In a Good Way podcast. My special guest today is my great friend, Trish Zapata. This is her third time on the podcast. I'm very honored to have her here. Hello, Trish.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. It's funny, right before we started, I was remembering how I met you. I know we had talked about it, I think, on the first podcast about that me and you had met at Standing Rock, but I didn't really go into detail, and I don't know why it popped in my head. It was funny, right before we started the podcast. I was thinking about for those of you that know about Standing Rock, and it was a big old camp, and at one point there were like 10,000 people there. I think at its height, was it? I don't know, 10,000. It was at least from 5,000 to 10,000, but I could swear it was like at least 10,000. So it was like a city, right? There was all these camps, and you'd meet people, make new friends. So sometimes at night, you'll go to people's camps just to hang out or whatever. And I guess I had gone to someone's camp that I knew, and you were there, and why I remember it, and it was funny, it was because I guess you had made these tamales, and I guess I was tired of all the other camp food, and you show up with these tamales because you're a chef. For those that don't know, like, Trish is an amazing chef, right? So she had made these tamales, and wait, why is my thing sounding all crazy? Okay, can you hear me good?
Yep, I hear you fine.
Okay, I was crazy. See, the aliens were talking through the speaker right now. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna talk about this. See, it keeps doing it. I don't know why. Something with this. Maybe. Okay, hold on one second. I don't know if it was the fan, because I guess I'll just start. You see me sweating, it's because it's hot and.
I turned my fan off too, so you wouldn't hear the.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it's getting some kind of feedback, but it seems to have worked. Maybe it was the fan, so I guess I'll just sweat it out. So back to the story. You had a little silly fan. Yeah, so I guess back to the story, just to get right into what we were gonna talk about on the podcast. Yeah, I guess you had made these tamales, but you were like, you can't have one unless I eat like these crickets or something that you had made.
No, I had brought crickets with me. Yeah, I remember.
But what were in there? I don't even remember. But you kind of like forced me, because I was like, dude, I never ate no insects in my life, and you were like, wow, if you want a tamale, you have to eat one of these. And I was like, oh my goodness. So, they were actually good, which was funny. But I don't even remember what they had in them.
They were chili, limon, crickets. Everybody was calling me the cricket lady after that. Like, hey, do you have any more of those crickets?
People like them?
Yeah, they actually liked them. So it was a treat.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, but it was like, I guess it's just weird, my first time eating crickets. I
brought them from LA too. Like,
no way.
Yeah, I brought them when I went up there. So, but yeah, crickets and tamales. That's what it was.
Yeah. So I guess that's why after I figured out, I'll eat the tamale and I'll forget about the cricket. But they weren't bad. It was just weird,
That you were eating a bug that gets to people.
Yeah, it was funny because I remember when I was in high school, we went to a Japanese restaurant, and I don't know, I guess I decided to be brave and try the, I guess, escargot, whatever, the snail. Yeah. And so I'm cutting like a little piece or whatever. I don't know, I'm munching on it and it's all chewy. I don't know, everything tastes like chicken, right? And so it wasn't horrible, but then when I put it on the table, I guess I tried to cut it and it was slippery because the shower or something. And I thought it moved and I jumped and I was like, forget, I ain't eating this thing no more. I thought it was alive. I was like, oh, damn, forget it. And it just, it wasn't horrible, even the snail thing, but it was, I think, just like how you said, the thought of eating a snail was like, I mean, why do we even need to eat a snail anyways? Like, that's crazy, right? So
Yeah, that is definitely an acquired taste now.
yeah. So I don't know. I guess you just want to try things. But okay. So all that aside, I just wanted to share that story because I thought I was funny. But actually, the reason I wanted to do this episode was because a few weeks ago we kind of talked about doing it. We're gonna do just a short episode about this one situation, and but other things have happened since then. So we're gonna talk about all that, and we're gonna mention Cern briefly since I know it's a hot topic right now. Everyone's talking about it, and you actually had a dream about Cern, so perfect. Like we'll talk about it. But what I wanted to talk about first was that your granddaughter actually had a dream, right? And so, how old is your granddaughter?
So my granddaughter just turned 9,
Okay.
and yeah. So
Yeah. Let's.
um,
But real quick, just so people understand, is like to me, when kids, it seems like there's really no reason she should have had this vision. And that's why, to me, it got my attention because I had even made a video where I'm talking about how, I don't know if it was in the 90s or what, like these kids had a visitation, and it was like how, I even made this other video, how when there was a kid that had a visit, like an abduction, I guess, but he wasn't really abducted, but I guess that's what they call it. It was like he had a visit. And the guy that investigated him, he even had like his wife was a child psychologist, and they even said how kids lie, like they tend not to lie, because when they have an experience, it's like they're just telling you what they experience, and it's not like adults. I think adults might, either they said they sometimes exaggerate, or sometimes I guess they're too worried about if people believe them or not, so they might even downplay it, but they're not as accurate with the facts as kids are. So when you told me, I was like, oh wow, like she had a vision, like something gave her this vision. And even though people may not think about it as being nothing and brush it off, to me, I think she was given the vision for a reason. So yeah, now I'll start yapping and let you share like what your granddaughter had experienced, because I thought it was pretty interesting.
yeah, so I mean, she's a smart girl, first of all. But just the fact that she had this dream like really shocked me. And so when she woke up, she said, Granny, I had a bad, and that's what she said, is she had a bad dream. And I said, well, what was it about? And she said she was at school, and like they were on the playground, and these like monitors, she like came out from the ground. She said like big TVs or something, and she said it was the government on there. And they were like telling everybody they had to listen to some kind of noise, some kind of sound that was playing, but she said she knew she wasn't supposed to listen to it. So she covered her ears, and that, it's running, and there's some government officials, and there's this noise, sound, music, or something. And that everybody was turning into zombies. And so she said she had to cover her ears up and run away. And I thought that was strange that she would even say any of that. So I have periodically, even since we had been in quarantine, had dreams or visions of Pleiadians, and they were basically doing the same thing, except if you were vaccinated, you get in this line, and if you were not vaccinated, you get in this other line. And the vaccinated people were going through this dark abyss, like they were just being thrown away, and so I don't know. Does the government have something they're planning? Quite possibly. And could it be bad for us? Yes. I told you I recently had a dream also, and they opened up a portal,
Mm.
and they were coming through. It wasn't all good. So um I kind of feel like that's like it's telling me to wake up and to pay attention to what's really going on.
Mm.
um and of course we should not believe the government at whatever cost, because they don't ever have our best interests at heart you know
Absolutely. And the funny thing about you having that dream about the portal is because how the Cern thing was turned on. I actually, like, I think I told you I was gonna upload this video about Cern that I had seen. Let me see, at least 6 years ago, I want to say. Um, I think the video was from 2015, but I probably saw it in 2016. But it was, I think, one of the most descriptive things about Cern. Like before, I guess a lot of people that I knew about Cern. I had watched that, and other people probably knew about it, but I guess people don't really talk about stuff. So, I had never really discussed it with anyone that I knew. It just came across. I don't know how I had this audio file. I don't even remember getting it, but it came on my MP3 player, and I was like, when did I download this thing? And it was this I don't know, like an interview of a guy who supposedly worked as a scientist for Cern or something, and he explained it like that, like how it was like that, like almost like they were experimenting with the whole thing that was Cern was like, it's almost like, the antimatter, right? And it said like how one little thing of the antimatter would it had enough power to like 4 bombs, that how when they dropped the bomb in Hiroshima in Japan, that it was like 4 times the size, like a little thing of antimatter. So it's like they were trying to work with this whole, what I guess what they told us is that they're trying to do the God particle, but that it's this antimatter. And like like if you were messing with the one in Texas, then the one in California, like if this one was irritated, if there's one in Texas, the one in California would. So they're all connected, even though I guess people wouldn't understand scientifically why that's important. Like these people that are experimenting with this stuff, trying to play God. And that's how he explained it too, like opening other dimensions. That's why when you said that, it got my attention, because I remember that, from like 6 years ago, listening to this guy. I'll probably upload it. I didn't really want to upload it on my channel because, it's not mine. Like it would have been cool to interview this guy, but I don't know if I could find them or get a hold of him. But maybe I'll upload it for a bit, so people could hear how he broke it down. And I guess it was a Christian guy, so he got into him like feeling like it like that, like it's a battle between good and evil kind of thing, which it does sound like it, because it's like people really not understanding. And it's crazy because I heard this before Stranger Things came out, and then once Stranger Things came out, it's almost like they were preparing people for this craziness, because the way he explained it, it almost sounds like this whole Stranger Things thing, like where they're the upside down and they're opening portals and all this craziness. So, maybe I'll upload it. It's just the audio file. I'll put it up for a while on the channel, so people could check it out. Since I know there's a lot of people that have questions about Cern, and I've never heard anyone explain it as good as this guy did. And it's like a 30-minute clip. So yeah, that was interesting. So you said when you had the dream about the portal, it didn't feel like it was something good. Like what exactly? Like, do you remember any more details, or?
I just remember having mixed emotions about it. Like, okay, they're coming, the portal was open and now they're coming, but yeah, I didn't have good or bad. It just kind of a weird vibe about the whole thing, I guess.
That's
You know?
right. You had told me that in the dream it was showing you that they were coming.
Yeah.
So, but you didn't see who's coming. If it's good people, bad people, or whatever, like just something's coming.
Yes. Something is coming.
Ah, so what's something?
Right. What is it? Because I didn't have a good feeling, I didn't really have a bad feeling. I had kind of a disturbing feeling about the whole thing. I don't know, it was just weird, and I'm still not sure what um to quite make of it, really.
Mm,
Um I'm just going to be more observant because yeah, it's one of the most confusing things that I've ever dreamt of. Usually things are pretty in black and white for me, it's this or it's that. And now it's like, it could be good, it could be bad. I don't know.
mm.
Um, I really don't know, like as of right now.
You know, and now I remember like when you told me that, because I had made a video about, I had this dream and it was actually on my birthday, right? So I
Mhm.
felt like it was a gift to me. They gave me a dream that I seen like this huge, and I have, if anyone wants to look it up, I guess I explained it in more detail. It's the dream about the condor and the eagle, right? That I posted. It's not on a podcast episode, but you could go check it out. And so I was outside, it was nighttime, and then here comes this huge thing running on the grass. And then I see it's a huge bird, and then it just takes off and goes into the sky. And I was like by a building, so it was green, all this grass, but then I was by a building and it flew up like alongside of the building into the sky. But I saw once it got closer, it was a condor, and I don't know if it was my first time ever dreaming of a condor, but then I ran in and I went to tell somebody that I knew, that someone that I know from like my spiritual community, like a friend. And I told them, hey, they're here, it's time. So I just remember saying that it's time, they're here. And that's why it's funny that like you dream something's coming through, but you don't know what it is. I dream, I'm saying they're here somehow by the condor, but I had a good feeling. That's why it's crazy. In my dream, it was all good. But then because I posted that video, someone messaged me on the comments that they had a dream like mine. So if they could send it to me. So they send it to me through an email. And, I don't want to share, like, I don't like sharing other people's things without asking permission. But I had actually asked them, but they haven't replied yet. But I'll just share briefly that they had a similar dream to mine, But I guess in their dream, I guess that they were coming, and they had their dream, I guess, in April. So on theirs, they were coming. On mine, in June, so May, June, 2 months later, they're here. On yours, they're coming. So there's this thing of, once I get, like, I'll ask, they probably won't even mind, but once I get, they tell me it's fine, then I'll share their dream with more detail, right? Because there was other things too. But, it was like that, right? So already there's three of us having these dreams about something coming. But even on top of that, like maybe 6 years ago, I had this dream of it was weird because it was someone I didn't even know was spiritual. I knew this person, and I would have never imagined in a million years that this person was spiritual, right? No disrespect, like if they watch this, but it was weird because in the dream they show up and they're talking to me in a native tongue, like an ancient tongue, but I could understand every word they're saying. And then they're telling me the ancient ones are on their way. They're coming. The ancient ones are on their way. And I understood them. And I don't know what I forgot. I'm sure I made videos about it before maybe, or I have notes somewhere, but I didn't know they were speaking to me in a native tongue, talking about the ancient ones are on their way. And this was probably 6 years ago, I'm thinking. And, then after, I ended up speaking to this person years later and come to find out that they were very spiritual. They had been very, I don't know at what point exactly they started getting more connected spiritually, but they were very tuned in. And I was like, oh, wow. So it all makes sense. Somehow, I don't know. I guess they came to me in the dream to tell me that the ancient ones were on their way, So that's why it's crazy now you know, all these things. I don't know what's going on, you know, but something is, I guess, all that to say that like something's happening, you know?
Yep, and it's coming quicker than we realize, you know. And it does have a lot to do with our spirituality. Um, and I think that people are going to learn that everything they knew before, whether about God or Jesus or whatever their beliefs are going to be totally shattered. Like, we're going to find out the truth. And it's going to be a hard thing for a lot of people to swallow too, you know. Um, but I know that good will come of it, that once we're able to understand like what what our life's mission really is, you know, what we're doing here, where we're going when we leave here, that um it's not exactly what people thought it was.
Mm. You Damn, okay, I had a lot of things like right now. No, when you were saying that, like, it's funny because, you know, on my birthday, like I had told you, like I dreamed of the condor. And then, you know, it goes really deep, but I don't want to take people down the rabbit hole too much. But it was just very significant because when I dreamed of it, all this stuff meant something, right? So it was like on a Thursday, I dreamed of the condor. And then a couple weeks later, it was a Thursday again, and I dreamed of the condor. And I bring that up because it meant a lot. The fact that it was all connected, right? But I dreamed of the condor again, and you know, it was a strange dream because, you know, the condor represents a lot, right? And back like for the Incas and all that, they thought of it as the messenger of the gods because it could go with its huge wings. It could carry messages. You know, it's the biggest bird, so it could carry messages between both worlds, right? And so now it's came to me, and now it seems to be like the spirit animal I'm working with right now. And before it was the owl, right? And for some reason now it seems like me and the owl, you know, and a lot of people don't like the owl, but the owl was my little guide through the spirit world. Now it's the condor, but it means a lot because, you know, it's like prophecy, the eagle and the condor. And so in that second dream of the condor, there was something about, it was weird, right? So I'll just say, I won't get too personal because it was about my brother, you know, so he visited me, but, or I visited where he was, but it was like, there was a mention of like, he was going to watch some old videos and I didn't get it. And then after, like, I just went through like, I don't know, 7 days of uploading old videos of mine that I came across. But in the dream, it was that my brother was going to show these old videos and I didn't get it. It finally clicked. I think today, it finally clicked like today after I've been uploading videos for 7, because I even questioned, like, why am I uploading old videos? Like, I know like the past is supposed to be in the past. Was there? And I think, yeah, somehow, some way, seeing how different I was, I think it's funny because you know, the northern US, for all those that know, and even Mexico is thought of as the people of the eagle, right? It was a more aggressive type of energy. And the South was supposed to be the condor, which is a lot more nurturing. I think it's even a little more feminine energy. You know, the condor is supposed to be feminine. I think the eagle is supposed to be masculine. And, you know, the whole prophecy is like when they come together, but it was almost like the eagle people were supposed to almost drive the condor people to extinction. And now when they met, like the condor people were supposed to teach again, like the people of the eagle, how to be, I guess, more in touch with Mother Earth and be more balanced, I guess, really. You know, I don't know how else to go into it. But now, even seeing my energy, like I think the oldest video I posted from as like 2018, I was so aggressive. Maybe people can't tell, but I could tell. I'm like, damn, I feel like I know I was like in just a couple years. I don't know if it had to do with like just having so much time to just relax because of the whole pandemic, you know, my brother passing away, all these things that happen. And so for some reason right now, the condor, now I'm in that energy. I could teach without being aggressive or angry. You know, like now, as opposed to how I was talking before, maybe I had I had to revisit that to see where I came from or some weird thing. But now the condor is being my guide, and it makes sense to me. I don't know if I made sense right now. Yeah. But why did I bring that up anyway? Oh yeah, the old videos and all that. But why did I bring that up? What were you talking about? About oh, okay, I know why. So what you mentioned about how you know, everyone's reality might be shattered. And even that, how you said, like, you know, people that believe in this or that. And I see even that, like I had a certain way of thinking that even though it's just a few years ago, I already my thought process has changed. But not only that, it's more open. Like I really wouldn't, even though I've had a way of thinking like that, like if our whole reality was just shattered, I would be okay. Like, all right, like makes sense. I wouldn't surprise. It would surprise me, but I'd be like, I'm not so fixed like that. Like
today you're more open to that. So if when it happens, you're gonna be okay.
Like if they were to tell us we're all plugged in and this is all some matrix stuff, like I'd be like, oh, okay, like all right, makes sense. Like
I was watching that little kid that I don't know if you've seen him, that little white boy. He's
no.
like a genius,
Oh,
right? And he was talking about um Cern. He was talking about the Matrix also. And whoever was interviewing him asked him, well, is it real? And he said it is absolutely real. Right. And basically we're gonna find out the truth. I think he might be about 10 or 11. I don't know, he's some little genius kid. And so I've actually watched, I can't remember his name. I'm gonna have to look and see, but yeah, he had some really pretty interesting things to say. And I believe him too, is the thing.
well, like I just did that 216 video. I don't know, like I don't know if I you had seen it yet, but I think I would kind of recommend everybody to see it because I was able to show proof, you know, like tangible proof that not everyone can always show, right? It's like I think that's the thing. It's like when someone says, "Oh, I saw a UFO," and people would probably be like, "Ah, whatever." But once they show you the pictures, and you're like, "Wait a second," and you're, you know, knowledgeable enough to know, like, okay, that's not normal, or you know, it's kind of like when people are trying to disprove like the moon landing, and they're like, "Well, there should have been a shadow this way or that way." So it's kind of like that sometimes where people can see and really see, like, okay. So that's kind of how I feel like that 216 video was. Like I show, like, you know, like the amount of proof I show, it would be like, you know, I think there's would be better odds of like winning the lottery or something. Like there's just too much, you know. So I feel like I was supposed to show that just to show it. But see, even that, right? Like I don't get attached to that. Like I shared the message and that's it. It's done. I'm done with it. Like I shared the message. As crazy as it may be, like people may think like, what the hell did I just see? Or they may accept it, or they may like whatever. But for me, it's like I just shared it and I'm good with it. That's why even when you said that about how if we find out this and that, you know, if we find out this and that, like you know, my world wouldn't come crashing down, you know. I'll tell you this real quick. I didn't know if I should share this story, but you know, it was like once I was working on this, I don't know, it was a show or a movie, right? And it was me and this guy from like Guatemala, right? And we were inside a church, and they had like pictures of Jesus, you know. You know, and I don't want to say it like in a disrespectful way, but it's kind of like, it's like the image where, you know, I'll just say it like this, you know, kind of like white Jesus with the long flowing pretty hair and this and that. And you know, like now people have agreed, you know, Jesus would have been darker, his hair would have been a lot rougher, all this stuff. So, you know, the guy from Guatemala, like I wasn't saying it, the guy from Guatemala started, he like, that's funny, huh? Like, you know, like we all know that's not what he looked like, but yet, you know. And I go like, oh yeah. And then there's this white guy, and he's just like, what? Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I'm like, well, we know like that's not what Jesus, like they already scientifically they say like that's not what someone from that area and this and that would it look like. And he's like, what? And then so the Guatemalan guy walks away, and then he's like, why was he saying that? Why was I was like, well, because that's not what he's like, no, that can't, like literally the way he looked, like I had to lie because it looked like, I don't know if you ever seen like Dave Chappelle. He would do these skits where, did you ever see the one where he's a Klan member
Yes.
and he takes out the thing and people's heads started exploding? Like that's how it looked. That was about to happen. I like it looked like this dude was about to have like a stroke or something. He's like, no, what? That kid, that's not real. That's not real. I like, yeah, we were just messing with you. Now we're just playing. Yeah, that is what Jesus looked like. Like his brain, like he couldn't. And I was like, no way. This guy's like 40 years old or something, and his brain could not handle. And I couldn't. I was sensitive to this guy because he really looked like that, like that, like So even when they like now, I see it like, damn, did Dave Chappelle really study like like when he did that skit? It's funny to everybody, ha ha ha. But damn, there's really people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
some of them can't fathom the truth, you know?
yeah. And whether it's the truth or not, but just it's like it's not that serious for, you know what I mean? Like I'm not that invested. Like I think at the end of the day, I know we're here, we're having an experience. I mean, I've seen so many weird things that it's like at this point, no matter what happened, I'd probably be freaked out, like, oh damn. But at this point, I'm not that invested where I'd like my head would explode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I understand that. Well,
Yeah. No, I don't want to keep talking. Go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna
oh
say?
no, go ahead.
No.
No,
I have no you know, I don't have anything else to talk about that. No, I wanted to hear more of your thoughts on that. Like what makes you feel about that something's coming and like almost like a veil is gonna be lifted. And it's funny because I was actually listening. See, and there's so many cultures that believe that, but yet I think when you really start talking about it, people don't. Because even I was hearing this hardcore Christian guy keep talking about the veil being lifted, so even they believe it. But yet, when you really get into the discussion, see, like if you were to say like, because they, I mean, it was like a hardcore Christian guy talking about the veil being lifted. So what if that veil being lifted ended up being that there's these beings and there was never all this religious stuff was null and void, everything out the window? Would they be able to accept it? Would it be?
that's actually what I was like saying when I said that people and the way they believe, is just going to be shot out the window. Like the harsh reality of how things really are, like who we are, what our purpose is. It's going to be shocking to them to find out the truth. I think that I know you and I've had this discussion before where I've said that science and spirituality are actually part of the same. They go together. But we have always separated those two so that there's conflicting theories, there's conflicting sides, but in reality, they go together. And so people that are Christians or whatever their belief is are going to have a harsh reality, like this awakening. Um, I've said this before, like they're going to have their feelings hurt when they see that Jesus is an alien because I feel that. I've told that to my son who's a Christian, and he's like, "That's not true, Mom. Like, stop watching Ancient Aliens."
Oh,
But no, I would say, okay, just wait and see. But we're gonna find out a lot of things that we thought were one way are actually not. And that's that veil that's being lifted. Doesn't matter like what religion you are, what your beliefs are, it's going to show its face to all of us.
yeah, and like you said, see, and I think that's the mistake everyone made, is that they attached a religion to the teachings. But all the old scriptures had nothing to do with the religions. It was just like, it was, now I'm 100% able to talk about like prophecies, right? Because I've dreamed things like even that, right? Like everything that happened with the Roe versus Wade, like the abortion thing, right? I wrote about it in a song like 10 years ago. And the first time I saw things from the song coming true was during the pandemic. I'm like, because when I wrote the song, it was all from dreams I had. And it was like, I remember being where the streets were empty. And during the pandemic, I went out and I remember nothing. I ended up on like going through the streets, and on that day, nothing. I was like the only person out there. And I was like, what? This is what I dreamed. This is where I wrote that song. And even in part of that song, I go like, I say like women being told what to do with their babies. And now we have the thing with the whole Roe versus Wade, like, but it was all tied in. Everything that I'm talking about in that song, it all like, it's been within a couple years, but it all connected, which is kind of creepy, but it is what it is. I dreamed it, it happened. So when I see all these prophets of old, whether it was thousands of years, that's all it was. It was people having visions. Native people are very familiar with visions. They've had, when everything happened, when the colonization happened, they knew, they saw, they had seen it coming. They had visions of something. They just, maybe because some things were foreign, right? Like how the train, when the train came in, they called it the Iron Horse. Medicine men, everything had visions of this iron horse that in a way they tied to the destruction, because it was, right? Like, they would transport slaves, they would do this, so many things started happening with the train coming in, and they dreamed of this. And then, and so they don't always have the words because it was something that was new, right? It was the Iron Horse. So that's what, but they had visions before it even came, before it even happened. So that's how it was. Like these prophets of the Bible, it's just like that, like they're medicine men, but whatever, they call them prophets. Over here it was medicine men, this and that. So I believe that, like these prophecies and all that. But that, right, like the religion, if you throw out the religion from it and you just go on the teachings, then maybe people wouldn't be so connected to what the religion is teaching and more what the scriptures were teaching. And that in their own, like the Bible, which they claim to follow, it talks about the veil being lifted. So it's just that simple. And how you said it, Jesus, I know, like we laughed about it, Jesus being an alien, but what is an alien? It was just really a messenger. That's all it was. Like that's what they called them, because they didn't know it was like messengers, or what did they say? I don't know if Elohim meant that or something, like, but it was like those that from the stars came. I forgot what the word, or Anunnaki, or one of those names that we know of, like these ancient beings with like those that from the stars they came or something. I don't know. I gotta look it up. But yeah, it makes sense to me. So you know, but yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, so yeah, I think we're gonna find out, and man messing with things, um, is gonna jumpstart a lot of things. Should they be messing with Cern? No, but they are, because that's just man's nature, to always control everything. And in doing so, they're going to find out some things that they just weren't expecting, you know.
Yeah, I think even I think like we've been lucky, like the beings that do know that we're here, right? On this planet and everything. Like we don't know what else is out there that would probably look. I mean, we've already experienced it, right? Oh, I think even Stephen Hawkins, right? I don't know if it was Stephen Hawkins, that some people say was like the most intelligent man or stuff like that. I think he warned about it. Like
He
what it
did.
would look like would be like the way they colonized all this, and came with guns and all this stuff, and the way all these continents were colonized by force. That's what it would look like these beings that would come. So I think they don't realize, like, I'm not worried in the long run, but I think more for humanity. I really, because in a lot of these dreams I have, like, I'm really not around to see like so much of the chaos that sometimes. But we've had every warning. That's why to me it's mind blowing that humans and it goes back to the government. Like I think we don't realize how much, like, how we're allowing them to just take us down this dark road, and people aren't gonna try to stop them until it's too late. Not just this government, but the governments of the world that seem to be working together.
Yeah, it's a shame, that society has become so complacent. They don't like the rules, the laws that are being passed, and yet they don't do anything about it. I mean, we have the power to make these changes, and yet we don't. And we just, keep allowing the government to control us to the point that, it's either they're going to force us or they're going to get rid of us for not being compliant with them. When people finally decide that they want to do something, it's going to be too late. I mean, we already have white men telling us what we can do with our body, right? And if we can have a child or not, or under what circumstances. And that should never be, ever be. And yet, it's happening, and we're allowing it to happen. So um, I see a civil uprising, I do. And, but it's going to be almost too late by then. People are just going to be sick and tired. And that's going to be a real interesting event to watch.
Mm.
Um, because so many people are already nuts from being in quarantine, with COVID. I mean, people are just losing their minds. And um, in the meantime, the government keeps continuing to, instill new laws and new regulations. And it's a mess. It is. So um, whoever's coming, um, it's going to it's going to put us in a really difficult situation than we already are, but just because of the way things are. So that's why I say I don't feel like it's good or bad. I just kind of feel a little disturbed about it. I guess it could go either way, depending. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to end it like on a gloomy note, but
Okay.
no, I think we'll be all right in the like, I don't see it.
I think it should be like food for thought. Like, you know, until it happens, nothing's ever really set in stone, right? So, um, I think if people have, you know, or continue to have positive thoughts about what they're doing, about how they can make things better, then, and then they actually do it, then things are going to be, things can be okay, So, um, I'm in no way saying it's the end of the world or whatever like that. It's like nothing like that, but there will be great changes. And, sometimes with change, some things aren't always good. That's just the harsh reality of life, So is it going to be good for some people? Yes. Is it going to be bad for some people? Yes. It's what we make of it. So yeah, I'm not trying to get anybody down at all.
Yeah. No, but sometimes I think, because for me, it's like, what does it take sometimes to wake people up? That's why sometimes I feel more like tough love, right? Trying to tell people, like, I think I told you that before. Like, I did tell you that, how a lot of times when I was giving messages, it was shown to me like they don't care. But I would keep trying. I would be like, I would keep trying, and it would be like, you know, I was such a weirdo. Like, when I was little, I was such a weirdo. Like, I remember praying to God or whatever, right? Like, I remember praying and even trying to be like, well, if you made like Satan, why don't you forgive him? Maybe he's changed, right? Maybe, he could change his ways, all that stuff. Just as a kid, wanting to, like, maybe he deserves forgiveness too, praying this. And then I saw evil and I saw some bad stuff. And then I understood there's just some things, and it's sad to have to see that, as a kid, even see things in this world that are bad. And some, we've all, I think so many people have experienced that. And then I knew, and then I shut my mouth. I never asked that question again. I never asked again. Like, oh, can you just forgive? I don't know why there's some bad stuff, but there's some bad stuff. But that's the road some people want to go down, like, and so it is. Sometimes you gotta fight. Sometimes you gotta resist, because there is. I don't know who made all the rules and the great thing, but that's why. Sometimes you gotta learn that, and then once you learn, you're like, oh damn, okay, I get it. Whatever in this whole game or whatever this place is, a test. We learn. And we learn, and so that's the sad part. Are humans gonna have to learn to? And that's why, like, see, all this past year, I've been having nothing but good dreams of, like. But I don't know. I don't know if it's because, you spend your whole life doing the work. So that's why I guess I try to, like, maybe put it out there for people. It's never too late, but it's just like, I guess I don't want people to suffer later when they could have done something about it before. I think that's all it is.
Yeah. Well, we all have to answer for our own actions. And so, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. This is
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. Um, and we are going to have people that will not even believe it to the very end. And so, just hope that people pay attention and you know, do what they need to do to help for what is the future, because I've seen that also. I think you and I, we've talked about this, like, in all the madness of stuff, I still see myself alive and in the future, like, in a new type of future, a new era of things and beliefs. So, um, I just gotta prepare myself for, you know, the fight. And I know I've told you that too. I'm like, as long as I can get through all of this, I'm good. Oh, um, yeah, that's what I'm waiting for, I guess.
Yeah. Um, like, the one of the people I interviewed, it was the Aquarius Maximus video, but I don't think it was during the interview. I had seen another interview of hers where she said that she's like, yeah, there's all these changes,
Mhm.
but it's a time to build. Like, don't get caught up in the world's coming to an end, this and that. While everyone's panicking, if you did kind of the work, or if you're whatever, you'll just focus and work and work and work and build. It's a good time for that, to not get caught up in all the panic. And it's funny because even lately, it's been so everything I'm seeing has to do with change. That's why it's funny that we're talking about all these changes coming, because like 555, right? It has to do with change. And whether it just means for me, sometimes it just means for you, or it could mean, well, no, I don't know if they're showing me for like on a bigger scale, but everywhere I look, see my dog bark. I think that's my little confirmation. Like, yeah. So it's like 555, keep seeing 555, which means change, and then crows, right? And it's even been crazy where like I went for a hike and I found a crow feather, which I haven't found in a long time. I put it on my walking stick and I was walking with it. And I knew, I was like, oh, that's crazy. I haven't found the feather in a while. And the crow, right? And then I kept seeing crows. And then even like the same day, my nephew called me. He's like, whoa, there's all these crows. Even sends me a picture. There's all these crows where he was at. So I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So it's really trying to get my attention. The crows represent change. The 555 represents change. So there's all these signs that some kind of change is coming. So, I don't know. I guess just, prepare. I just wanted to talk about the dreams. Like, I kind of feel bad now. I feel like hopefully we didn't take it into like a gloomy kind of thing. Because to me, like I said, it doesn't bother me. Like, I just like we talk, and then after, like, like I'm good. Like, I'll be, so that's why I don't want anybody listening to this to be in any kind of like even that, right? Like the dream where your granddaughter, I think that's always important. People don't think about the future, like their kids and everything. Like they don't think it's everything you're doing is gonna be more for your kids. Like once we live, we experience, we get older. Why wouldn't you leave something for your kids to be better? As far as like, so that one day there's not monitors coming out of the ground and they're getting this sound and turning into zombies, like your granddaughter said. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Well, I guess we're we're gonna find out real soon. And I keep saying that too, like it's it's gonna happen. And but we're living in a time where we have access to everything. Like I can go see something that's going on the other side of the world. I just have to get online. Everybody's got a phone, everybody's got a way to take pictures, and it's really hard to keep things hidden nowadays. And so, I just tell people pay attention and look up at the sky. Like that's so important. If you look up, you're gonna see stuff. Um, and in the meantime, our governments are trying to keep us occupied so that we're not, but we just have to pay attention. Pay attention. It's a big puzzle. Start putting it together. Um, the end is going to be astounding.
most definitely. And I mean, just the end to the new beginning, like the
Yep.
Mayans had already prophesied. And like I think I had said in a video before, I remember how disturbed I was when so many like people from different churches and this and that were mocking the Mayans. They were like, oh, the Mayans said the world was coming to an end. I guess they got it wrong. And I would hear these preachers saying that like on the radio and all this stuff. I remember I was like, wow, these guys are like horrible, like but see, it all came true. Like it's all, and people didn't realize they were talking about like that, like a whole, not just spiritual, but everything's shifting and we're seeing it. But people just didn't understand what was happening. So the Mayans were 100% dead on, the whole, the end of that age coming into the new age. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was already prophesied and we're here. And so, no, thank you so much. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about. I don't want to keep you too long. I wanted to talk about those dreams and that about something's here. To me, I guess I dream something's here. Someone dreams something's on their way. You're dreaming something's on its way. And, like how you said the puzzle thing, like for anyone that hasn't seen it, go check out my 216 video and you'll see like how I put this puzzle together that took me a few years just to put all the puzzle pieces together. But there's like, I show the proof, so you guys can see how some of these puzzles work sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, thank you for having me. You know, I enjoy our talks always. So, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, I wish we had more to talk about, but I guess, you know, we wanted to keep it short today. So yeah, it's always my honor to have you as a guest, and we'll do it again soon.
Okay, well, you have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Good night.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you're just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You're just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.